Hi, and welcome to YeeFit Adventures. My name's Darren, and this channel is about backpacking, hiking, and finding your next adventure. In today's video, we have a special treat for you. Recently, I went on a New Year's Day hike up down in Antioch at the Black Diamond Mines Regional Preserve, and we met some two naturalists out there, Katie and Erin, and they were kind enough to join us for lunch as well as give us some history and background into the Chinese who lived in that area as miners. So let's get to the video.
Hello everyone, my name is Katie. I am a naturalist here at Black Diamond Mines. I've been here for about a little over 2 years and I love it, and this is my coworker and friend.
I'm Erin. I'm a naturalist aide here at Black Diamond Mines. I've been here for a little under 3 months, so I'm pretty new here to the parks. I'm still learning. Katie's a great mentor. And we are going to make that wonderful dessert that you guys have.
Yeah, we're gonna make everything. So first, just starting off with, so Erin and I today were supposed to lead the New Year's hike, and we had two super lovely people show up, Chris and Shirley, and we were doing the hike, and then we met up with nine of your group, and everyone was just like, we don't know where we're going, we'll follow you. And then they joined us and we did some nature journaling. We asked them about that, came back, and they invited us to this potluck, which we're super appreciative of, and my stomach is so full and happy. And it's just like, we're just saying, it's such a great way to start the new year.
Amen.
Like, yeah, new friends and food and being out in nature. So just really thankful for that. And yeah, so I'll just like maybe do some brief history of this park if you're not super familiar with it, and also do a little focus on the Chinese community. What I know of, I'm learning stuff about this park and history every single day, so I don't have all the facts, but I would love to share with you what I do have. For just a quick show of hands, is this anyone's first time to the park? Okay, quite a few of you. Awesome. Well, we hope you come back. East Bay Parks does we do programs weekly. On the weekends we have mine tours you can sign up for, but we also do like hikes we did today. We have tabling events, and that's not just East Bay, not just Black Diamond, but it's all East Bay parks. So there's opportunities. If you go on our website, there's 73 parks across 2 counties, Contra Costa and Alameda County. I think a lot of you might be from Sacramento, but still it's not that far away. If you wanted to come back and explore more parks and be a part of more programs, you're always welcome to. We always start our programs also with a land acknowledgement, because most oftentimes we talk about the history here. We start with mining times, which is like 1800s. But before that, there were people here way before immigrants came in, for thousands and thousands and thousands of years before. People taking care of this land. So this is the ancestral homeland of the Bay Miwok speaking native peoples, and we always just acknowledge that they're still very much part of our communities. They're still here. Oh. I'm listening. Very captivated. Always starting off with our land acknowledgement to native people. So in the mid-1800s, there was a man here. He was a rancher, and he was cleaning out a spring for his cattle, and he struck a coal vein. And that's when word started getting around that there was coal here. It brought people from all over the entire world. So some people from the United States, mostly people from Europe, and then people from Australia, I think people from Mexico, but also people from China came here to set up their lives and be coal miners. So when I say set up their lives, I mean they lived here. You came in on the road called Summersville Road, and that is called Summersville Road because it was the town of Summersville. There were 5 coal mining communities here. This was Summersville and a little bit that direction. If you keep going that direction, Stewartville, West Hartley, Judsonville, and then if you see the cemetery up there, if you go past the cemetery, that's Nortonville. And during that time, these 5 communities had the biggest population in all of Contra Costa County.
That's hard to believe.
So yeah, it was like roughly a little over 3,000 people, had the most people, and they were all here for the Black Diamond. And black diamond is, of course, the nickname for coal. So they were extracting the coal, using it as a fuel source to help power the California gold rush, so San Francisco area. There were train tracks coming out of here. There were 3 different railroad tracks taking the coal to the Delta, shipping it off to San Francisco, or using it here, using it for themselves, using it for the trains, that kind of stuff. So going back to the cemetery, we can all see it's over there, and we see the hillside. I have a picture of the cemetery. It's taken from like up this hill, but you can see what the town looked like in the mid 1800s. Yeah, so when I say it was a community or a town, literally people lived here. They built their homes here. There were houses, there were saloons, there were churches, there were schools. There's a school on the right side going up to the cemetery on that path. Yeah, this is all right over here. I think there was a post office and a town hall in this parking lot area. If you go over this hill, that's where there's like a big flat meadow, and that's where they had like a community park, and that's where they held a lot of festivities. Like they would have 4th of July parades and all these different. So the towns, there's not much evidence left, right? Except for the cemetery will always be here. It's a historic site, and the park itself is a preserve, so it's preserved now. But the coal here at Black Diamond, which I have an example of, I think. The coal here at Black Diamond is really low quality coal. It's called sub-bituminous lignite. The good stuff is called anthracite. The stuff we have here is really young. It's like 50 million years old. It's like a baby. So it's really soft coal. Like sometimes we'll find coal in the waste rock piles with the kids, and I'll just crush it with my hands, or I'll throw it on the ground and it shatters. So it burns quickly and it burns dirty. If you want really good coal, that's like Pennsylvania, that's on the East Coast side. It's called anthracite, and you couldn't break it with your hands or throw it on the ground, and there's way more of it over there. So eventually they found, and I can show you, actually I have a picture. Yes. So I'll show you the coal veins that are at this park. This is basically if you were to cut a hillside in half, and it's exposing the layers. So the black layers in there, that's the coal, and you can see they're really thin layers. So sometimes it'd only be like 3 feet of coal. So they were doing all this really hard, really dangerous work for coal that, they were using it, they weren't making that much money, but it was really low quality. And they could be making more money somewhere else if they could find more of it. So they discovered coal up in the state of Washington, and it's the same type. It's called lignite, but their veins were 40 feet instead of 3 feet. So a lot of the miners just up and moved, and their houses, everything left behind, it was repurposed. So you can make it into more houses. I think you can, they made it into the railroads. They took it to Antioch and built different things, buildings. So it was all repurposed. I was telling some people on some days after rains, hikers will go out and they'll find like wood from the houses, or they'll find dishes or toys or even fossils actually. And that's one of my favorite things about this park. When people find fossils here, guess what type of fossils they are? It's a random question.
Seashells.
They're seashells. Thank you, yes. So there are all these marine fossils, and you think, like, in my mind, I'm like, this is one of the driest parks I've ever been to in my life. Why are there shells here? Because some hikers will be like, maybe a seagull dropped it, but why are there so many shells all over this park? It used to be the sea, yes. So this picture is showing, you'll see the white outline of California. Oh, okay. And then there's a red dot that says you are here. And it's surrounded by blue because this is a map of California 50 million years ago.
Oh, okay.
So 50 million years ago, we were underwater. We would be swimming right now in our potluck.
You got enough?
But then with Earth's crust and plate tectonics converging and creating these mountains, it pushed the coastline back out to where it is today. And that's also why we have coal here. Does anyone know what coal is made out of? Carbon? But what is that from? What is it? What was it originally? It could be dinosaurs, it could be plants, yes. It's organic material. So this area was like ocean, and it was a lot of swampy area too. So our coal is like all the greens, all the organic material from the swamps. But again, only 50 million years old. It needs like 100 million more years in order to be the really, really good coal. So back to, that's my geology. But back to mining times, I have a picture of some actual miners. I can show you. These miners are in front of the Pittsburgh mine shaft, which you could actually take a hike to. It's just right over this hill. And you can see it's a shaft, so it's vertical, it's filled in. All the mines here are filled in or gated off because it's very, very dangerous. No, it's just right over here. Yeah, not by the town. But we have lots and lots of pictures of miners. If you go to the visitor center on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you can see lots of pictures. We have big posters and all that kind of stuff. But the pictures that we have are pretty much, as far as I know, all Welsh miners or European. Even though there were all these other people that were working here, the only pictures we have are from the European people. But there were other people, so like Chinese people, right? We know for sure that Chinese people worked in these mines, but not because of photos. They weren't allowed in the photos. Yeah. So we don't have one single picture. Out of all the pictures we have, which are like hundreds, not one picture has a Chinese person in it. But we have census records. And census records will show that there were people from China here, but they don't always say what their position was. So if you were a European person, it'll tell you exactly like miner or whatever you were. But for the Chinese people, it usually just said laborer. So you don't know what it doesn't say miner or anything like that. What is that?
Coolie.
What's that?
Oh,
workers. And you know something else that was really interesting? Maybe you all know, like for the European people, it had their first name and their last name. And for the Chinese people, it always said like and then a name. Like A-H. Yeah. In front of everyone's names. What is that? What does that mean?
Means when they address the boy.
It's like, hey, you.
Someone.
So in the census records, it's and then just one name. I don't know if the first name or the last name.
They don't even bother to mention the full name.
Yes.
They just use, for example, my first name Chiu. Chiu. This guy, West. West.
West.
Just like that.
Yeah, so that's how it was written in all the census records.
Basically, it's treat him like a half human being.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes perfect sense because that's how it was for sure back then. So we do have census records and we have newspaper articles, but also in 1979. UC Berkeley, one of their archaeological classes, came here to do a dig in Summersville. So where there was a hotel, they knew there was a hotel in the big town park area. And so they did this big archaeological dig and found a bunch of stuff. But the biggest, like the coolest, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions, thing that they found, I was telling someone this already, but it's a Chinese pickle jar, and it's like this big. Yeah, we have it in our office. They tried to piece it together. We don't have all the pieces, but it's a lot of pieces, and it's really, really cool. It's about this big. I don't know how they know it's a Chinese pickle jar, but it is really beautiful. And so from that, they were thinking that possibly there was maybe a Chinese cook in that hotel. And then somewhere in the park, we don't know where, some hikers found Chinese coins, which is really cool. And we have those coins too still, but they're in our archives. I've never gotten to like see them in person, but I've seen a picture of them. So there are some newspaper articles that talk really extremely negatively about the Chinese community here. They were minors, just like the other people, but they were treated very unfairly. They weren't paid as much, and also there was a foreign minors tax law. And even though they were all foreigners, they only charged the Chinese people to pay that tax, which.
So we just pay more than
You
everybody
get
else.
paid less, and you have to pay more.
Yeah.
So eventually, the Black Diamond miners went to their boss and said, "We refuse to work with Chinese people. If you don't fire all of them, we're gonna quit." And what do you think happened?
Adios.
They fired them. They fired all the Chinese people, and then the mines were super lacking because the Chinese people were doing like the best work out of all of them.
Okay.
So they needed more people to come in. Who do you think they brought? I told someone this already. Don't say it out loud if I already told you. Who did they bring in to replace the Chinese workers?
Mexicans.
What?
Mexicans.
What? Good guess.
Filipino.
Irish. My guess would be Irish.
Good guess. Good guess. What?
Children.
The children. That's when they decided to bring their children into the mines. And there are some mines, across the world where you might bring children in because of their size. They're small and get in other places. That's maybe their case, but in the case for Black Diamond mines, for Mount Diablo coalfields, it's because they were replacing the Chinese people.
There's no labor law at that time.
No labor law at that time. Nope. Now there are labor laws, but not labor laws around the world. So in the United States, yes. Other parts of the world, there are definitely children working in mines today still. So always keeping conservation in mind. But yeah, that's the reality of the situation. And I tell my third graders this stuff. It's a lot of this type of history gets excluded from schools and books and things. It's a harsh reality, but it is reality and it's part of the history. And I also like to think about, just so we're not ending on like really bad notes, is just how resilient the Chinese community was and still is. Because after there was like a big incident here with ladies of the night, and some miners contracted infections, and then they blamed the Chinese women. There's really no way of knowing. They just, they're probably like scared kids and just said it. So they, some things happened and they burned Chinatown in Antioch. They burned it to the ground. They kicked all them out. They said, if you don't go out, we're gonna burn your town down, and they did. And but I just always like to think about how strong the Chinese community is and resilient, and how there's still a huge Chinese presence here, and just how hardworking. And I was telling someone this earlier too, but the mayor of Antioch, his name is Lamar Thorpe. Yeah. He actually a couple years ago, he officially apologized to the Chinese community for all this discrimination that they went through during this time, and he set aside a bunch of money to rebuild historic Chinatown in Antioch, which is great. It's super great. But something else I want to point out are these trees that are around us right now, and there's a ton of these trees in the park. They're called Tree of Heaven.
Yes.
And they were brought by the Chinese miners. Oh. Yeah, there's a lot of plants here that were brought by miners. You're moving across the world, and sometimes you bring things that make you feel comfortable and makes you feel like home. So we have a lot of different plants here from all over the world. Some of them the rangers do have to manage and take out because they can be too invasive. The Tree of Heaven is actually a super invasive plant.
Yes.
It'll pop up if they don't manage it. It will pop up everywhere and it will take over. It's a beautiful tree, but it'll just take over. So they do manage it, but they keep a lot of it in honor of the Chinese community here, and just as it's just a reminder, and it's part of the history. So they stay, even though they're not, not from here.
Native.
They're not hurting the environment as long as they kind of manage it.
I think the country cost politician need to come here to listen to you.
Yes. Yeah, and just so you know, I was not prepared to talk about Chinese history. If I knew this was going to happen, I would have researched.
You did great.
I would have practiced. But this is just what I have, because I do, I will often do the AAPI hikes that we have here. I was telling someone, like, the Asian community is like close to my heart. My mom is Filipino. I don't look like it. I look like my dad. He's a tall white guy. But my mom is Filipino, and I know she grew up in the East Bay with discrimination as well. And so I just like have just taken a passion with the Asian community and would like to represent and support in any way I can. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching YeeFit Adventures. My name's Darren. It was really nice to hear from Katie and Erin as they shared about the Chinese history in the Antioch area, as well as the East Bay Regional Park District. They gave us a lovely 2025 Trail Guide Challenge, which has a number of hikes in the East Bay area, and it gave us a lot of information about the vegetation, the minerals, as well as a lot of the wildlife in that park. So if you like content like this, hiking, information on different areas, as well as gear reviews, please hit that like and subscribe down below. I greatly appreciate it. I'm growing the channel and hope to reach 1,000 by the end of the year. So till next time, take care, stay safe, and let's find your next adventure.